right? How do you make sure this sponsor is like? How do you vet them? Make sure they're gonna kind of scam your people. Like, how do you like do all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, like, we integrate the companies in a fairly templated fashion, right? Like, and it all is around, like, the programming that we've developed. Some of our programming templated out, right? So, it's like a company wants to be a corporate member, they pay an annual fee to do so. What that gives them really, I mean, kind of, part is like a logo, description, a link on our website, right? But we also integrate them into a lot of the event programming we do, right? There's a heavy element of mentorship through all of our programming. That's vitally important. Um, Companies are then required to provide, depending on the size of the company, mentors to the community that have dedicated mentor hours, right? So I'm an individual that works for Starbucks headquarters and I work in graphic design, right? And I've got 6 or 7 years of experience. Starbucks is a community, say a community or corporate member of YP community. They support us on an annual basis. This graphic senior level graphic designer has allocated 10 mentorship hours per year with the organization, which means they can participate in panel discussions about things that are topical. So we have a team that kind of like looks through our database of mentors, through our corporate members, and says, "Cool, we can put together a panel on this topic." Say it's marketing, but we've got like a senior graphic designer at Starbucks, right? So like Starbucks then is able to allocate, say, 2 mentorship hours to the organization through the event that they do, right? They also can have, through calendar technology that we're kind of working on right now, set up a profile within our website that we're developing right now that says, here are the hours that I'm available to do like a one-on-one mentorship for anybody that's interested in getting into graphic design or trying to figure out what it looks like to work at Amazon, right? So we find avenues for these corporate members or these companies to integrate themselves into the community, but in ways that we've already kind of determined through surveying that's relevant to community members, right? So it's not just like we can host an event at Starbucks and they're going to sell you all their coffee and then pitch you on, applying for a job here,
Mhm.
as a barista or at HQ, right? Like we're not really doing because say Starbucks pays us, right? Like this is hypothetical, generally speaking, right? Because they pay us, we're not going to do exactly what they ask. We have a templated model in how you integrate into that as a platform.
Can you talk about what you're doing for WTIA right now?
Yeah, so I'm on the advisory board, startup advisory board, right? So they have cohorts that join. We pause. I can use the restroom real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hold on. You got to use a key.
It's right over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate it.
So WTIA,
WTIA, yeah. So advisory board, startup advisory board for them. I joined 2020, I believe, 2021. So WTIA, Washington Technology Industry Association. Um, They host cohorts of startups that go through um, these sessions effectively, connect them with tools, resources, you know, advice, opportunities to be able to kind of pitch their business, right? Like going through a lot of the activities that startups are going to need in order to, find funding and move their company level, right? So, I mean, we do kind of startup assessments, right? So, like, once companies apply, we go through, like, assess, I guess where they stand, a couple of metrics that we use to take a look at them, and then once they go through the um, cohort is identified, we step in, listen to pitches, um, kind of assume these areas of, I guess, expertise and can kind of step in as advisors, provide advice, right? Like WTI, yeah, also hosts workshops for a lot of these startups, right? So, if I'm a, expert in marketing or revenue strategy, then I have the ability, or sometimes I can be tapped to host a workshop for, some of these companies, or step in and provide advice, right? There's a, cohort member or cohort graduate that's, needs some help in, a campaign that they're looking to launch. I can get an email that says, "Hey, Ahmad, do you mind setting aside some time to kind of talk to this founder or this company or this, this team about some of these initiatives and maybe provide advice," right? So it's still, it is an avenue for me, um, you know, into the tech space in Washington, right? Like it's heavily Seattle centric, but they're doing a lot of work to make sure that they're accessible, say in at least Eastern Washington, right? Because it is Washington Technology Industry
Yeah,
Association, right?
yeah, not
Not just
Seattle.
Seattle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, like I've been involved for quite a bit. I think I kind of like it's almost like I'm on reserve of for if there's a need, falls kind of within my wheelhouse.
So what's your take on this, right? So it's like in Seattle, there's WTIA, Seattle Startup Grind is coming back up, Founders Live, New Tech Northwest, Founders Institute, Startup 425, Startup Haven. There's all these Washington Startup Hall. There's all these startup organizations, but it's like none of them like really collaborate. It's like all in their silo, right? Why do
Yeah,
you think that
and I think
is?
that's
That
we talked about this a little bit earlier too,
yeah,
right?
like
It's
the
just
nonprofit thing.
yeah, it's like the nonprofit thing or people that are designed to like serve popular needs
Mm.
within a particular region, right? Like we're very tech heavy here, so there are a lot of people with ideas around startups, how to start startups. I mean, WTI has been around for decades.